Good. Hey guys, BJ and Gameday back for another week. A little bit of a different setting this week. The Hammo's finally moved out of his mum's place. We haven't set up the new joint yet for recording, so we're here at the German club in Canberra. Our faithful supporters for our 8-ball careers. Mate, last week, how'd you go?
Yeah, good week, mate. 12 something.
Yep.
12 something at this point of the year. I know 1200 is good, 1200 plus. So I think last sort of month's been around those 1200s, which has been good.
Yep.
And yeah, just staying competitive. A few head-to-head semis this week, so it's all sort of coming into place, and maybe it's a little glimmer of hope of a top 1,000 still.
You're in 10 leagues.
Yeah.
How many have you made the semis in head-to-head?
So in the major semis, or it'll be 5.
You're still alive in 5?
5.
Okay.
And that's the top half.
Yep.
Top half. So as much as I hate head-to-head comps, Stars have aligned in quite a few of them, and a couple of cash ones as well. So that's been good, including our very own.
Yep.
BJ and Gameday. Yours truly, mate. One semi, 2 semis. So
yeah, mate, we're in there, and
still
it's nice this week. We're not going head-to-head, so. You know, if we can get over Wayne and Cam, we might be able to, hit the grand final together. We'll keep the cap, save our postage money.
How'd you go last week?
Mate, 1,266 last week. So, mate, really trending well, up to about 1,200. So, mate, look, a long season. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was outside the top 5,000. So, I think over the past 3 or 4 weeks, it's been really good. Managed to loop turbo last week. I was sort of, lucky there. Mate, massive, 194.
New record.
New record. It's always nice to see that tumble. Obviously, Cam Munster lost the mantle there, but mate, Tommy Turbo, he's just everywhere in those last couple of weeks. So 670 odd thousand, I think he is now, and with 194 on the board, he will probably be the most expensive player come next year. I can see him probably surpassing Cook in these last couple of weeks, just because of those scores he's had.
Yeah, and I mean, in the last 2 weeks he's scored over 300 points too, so he got the ton the week before as well. So yeah, he's definitely going to have a couple of big scores in that rolling average. But yeah, absolutely massive score. I mean, in a team that's got nothing to play for, I guess it just shows how much of a class act both of those Trbojevic brothers are, and they are genuine superstars. I mean,
and look, across all the teams, it's such an even comp. I think. One of the coaches there last week obviously thanked the salary cap, and that's what we see. It's 6 teams within 2 points of each other at the top, and you've got 5 or 6 teams at the bottom within 2 or 4 points of each other. So really even comp. On any given day, anyone can beat anyone. I think last week in the 8 games we had 6 upsets.
Absolutely.
So you sort of get towards the end of the season, you think you've got some idea, and it just blows you out of the water.
Yeah, and it's good. I mean, in the last few years, I don't think those squads have been sort of as even as they have in terms of having those genuine sort of stars. But now, I mean, you look at the teams at the bottom, Para and even North Queensland and the Dogs, they still got some genuine quality first graders.
North Queensland at the start of the season, they're looking like they're going to get the spoon or near enough. People were tipping them to win, and Para to finish in the top 4 after their season last season. These are the 2 guys battling for the wooden spoon.
And Cowboys made the grand final last season. A lot of people forget, with Thurston. So you only thought with Thurston back, but that's the beauty of the game. Really.
Yep. So. No, definitely. Mate, any trades left?
0. So last trade, I decided to pull the trigger on Gutho a couple of weeks ago when he got named at centre.
Yep.
I went to Addo Carr because I liked their couple of weeks with Para and Titans this week.
Yep.
Didn't work out. The week just gone. I think Tommy saved my week. I had a lot of average scores, and obviously having the vice on him. I mean, I had Cardi as my AA, who ended up getting 5 minutes of game time, which was an absolute killer. But I think my next scorer was someone on about 25-30, so it didn't really make 20 points difference. But no trades, so now it's just a matter of picking that right 17.
Yep.
Plenty of injuries though, sort of coming through. Nathan Brown this week. Vunivalu, who hadn't been playing, but he's out.
Yep.
Cameron Smith in a bit of doubt.
Cameron Smith in doubt. So, like we talked obviously about Widdop we didn't go to air last week, but Widdop's come up with that shoulder injury. Wasn't really playing any good, so that's sort of a bit of a godsend. But it's tough to finish out the season. We talked about a few weeks ago how everyone seemed to have that 19 or 20 players, so you had a couple of spare ones. Now there's a few people, bit of talk around people only with 16 and 17, so it's tough.
Yeah, and I've got some issues with I'm not sure if Cameron Smith will play. There's not a lot of good mail about it, but the only alternative I have for him is Mannering, that I'd want to play, and they played before the Storm. So I've got a bit of a tight one there whether I do or don't go. I'm leaning towards not, just because they don't have to risk him.
Yep.
And they are playing the Titans, but if he does play, it could end up biting you. But he hasn't been the Cameron Smith of old in the last month anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, a few interesting ones. I mean, like I said, it's about getting that 17 right and those captains and those vice choices right, because at this stage of the year, a lot of the leagues, I mean, there's only half a dozen pods at max.
Look at last week. Obviously, Turbo, massive score. There wasn't really a captain choice after him that performed. Maybe Cleary sort of got, I don't know, 75 or something like that. So it was a bit of a tough week for the captain if you didn't get on Turbo. You know, we were obviously fortunate enough to be able to loop, but plenty of people just went cook straight off the bat on Friday night, and I think he probably had his lowest score of the year. So a little bit of a tough one for people there. I noticed the guy who was actually first overall dropped back 6 spots. I think he scored about 250, 300 less than the other top guys. Everyone else captained Turbo, and he just couldn't get it done. So it's for 50k, it's heartbreaking. So perfect 8 still going as well, mate. Let's touch on that. I think it's up to about 340,000 now.
Yeah.
So are you doing it each week, mate?
Not each week, every now and then I do have a bit of a dabble. I mean, why not? It's free. It's just a matter of remembering to do it, because if you don't get in before the first game, you miss it. For
mate, I reckon you're more likely to win Powerball than that bloody thing.
Well, I think I got a mate who I work with who knows the odds of it, which were astronomical. I think I have to get him to find out what it was and put it in the comments. But yeah,
I mean, even if you could narrow each game down to 6 players, you know, that's 6 to the power of 8 in each game. Like, it's just, get it, you're going to be absolutely blessed.
Even if you pick 2, you know what I mean, you'd be doing well. So,
mate, any tips for this week? Obviously, you've got no trades left. Mate, any late mail, anything you can sort of bring to the table?
Not really. I think obviously Billy Army Kicker had those visa issues, it looked like, but it looks like that's all sorted now. So that was an interesting one. No Joey Tapane, it is. So he was a bit of a port, I've noticed, for a few teams.
After his last few performances,
obviously Nathan Brown been injured as well. So there's a few out there like that. There's depending on what you believe. SJ's got the ankle.
Quick talk about Kalen Ponga. He's, for your guys, you've been named at 6 again. For owners of Kalen Ponga, let's say hypothetically you've got a trade left and you've got the cash. You know, well, it's a lot of cash to get to Turbo, but you know, a lot of people with that setup have got RTS, Ponga, Teddy, Turbo, some combination of those 4. Do you get rid of Ponga?
I think you can. I think Cronulla this week, but I mean that showed when we played Melbourne that it doesn't matter. But that's 6. I know he has a lot of value there, but he's pigeonholed over that side of the field. So
you can just sort of look at the same thing with Cam Munster. You know, you could go 30 or 40, or you could go 130. You know. Yeah,
and there is that niggle with he's got an ankle niggle and maybe the hemi. I mean, he's such an explosive player that if something goes, that's it.
Yeah.
I think someone worth looking at, which you've had him for a number of weeks now, and I think he's an unreal player to have for the last 2 weeks, and that's Val Holmes.
Yeah.
Playing us and then the Dogs, I think he's got next week. Yeah. So he's definitely a player. I think if you've got some doubts around someone like a Ponga or a Cody Walker, and you have the cash to, or you know, can move people around. Yeah. Val Holmes is definitely one I would like to have had.
Premium price now, but I was fortunate. I got him sort of early on. I think he was about late 400, so I really reaped the rewards there. Yeah. But it's just tough across the park. You know, the centre wings was sort of the position everyone was struggling with so long, and you know, then Latrell stepped up, and then Fergo stepped up, and you know, Val Holmes has stepped up. Joey Lewis had a few good weeks, a bit of a down last week, but and Masters has been solid all season long. So if you could work out that core early enough, you'd be sitting pretty.
Yeah, absolutely, and I still think there's still enough variety where it'll make it interesting. Like guys like Adokar, who I've just gone them. I normally probably wouldn't go with something like that, just for that bit of pod action. And, you know, at this stage of the year, it's only going to take a player to score a ton that no one else has. That is the difference.
I'm sitting on 1 trade left. I've got 29k in the bank. I'm a rage trader, as we know. For the last 4 weeks, I've held on to this thing purely because I'm pretty happy with my team. I'm not in as much injury trouble as a lot of people out there, so I'm pretty happy with mine. But still that little feeling in the back of my mind, I want to fucking use the trade. So my next week, regardless, I'll be trading a nuffy to a nuffy in the last game just to do it.
You would have about 1,000 to 1 to have a trade left in round 25.
Oh mate, I know.
I wouldn't have even touched it for $1. I don't
Yeah,
think so.
yeah.
What are captains and vice captains this week? Got any thoughts?
Mate, look, I've got to be honest, I've got no idea. Bit of an impulse one here, guys. We haven't prepared anything.
Standard.
I've sort of got no idea who's playing.
I'll have a quick look. A little bit more.
Mate, I know.
Some Supercoach up.
Manly obviously playing the West Tigers Thursday night. That was the one game I did remember. I think just keep the VC on Turbo.
Yeah.
You know, while he's in form. Again, Manly, another team. You know, you sort of looked at their roster at the start of the year, and there's plenty there behind them. You know, they've had plenty of off-field distractions, plenty of coaching distractions. Look, just a place you don't really want to be a player at the moment, I think. But Turbo, you know, what do you always say? Form is temporary, class is permanent, and he's got it. He's got it in spades. So I think the VC on him. Look, I'm thinking the sneaky captain choice on Val Holmes. I think the form he's in. Last time we played you guys, we absolutely towed you up. I think Matty Moylan scored about 140 points. Moylan's not in that good a form, but Val Holmes is. And a couple of those try assists last week that he got were brilliant. He got denied a try as well. You know, I think Cronulla got denied 2 or 3 tries through the obstruction rule. So if they can find their way around that, I reckon he might be a sneaky captain choice. A few people might go home, I'm not too sure. He's not generally the safest option, but
he's
you look at his last 6 week form
as well. That complements a lot.
Probably the big bonus, yeah.
But he is in form. I mean, earlier in the year, I would argue he wasn't. I mean, there was that he was switching between wing and fullback, but he's in form right now. And I think if the Sharks are going to win a comp again this year or go close, it's on the back of Val Holmes.
Yep.
He's in the right place at the right. Just got that that thing.
Yeah.
He's in the right place at the right time, and when it's working for him, he's a pleasure to watch. Unfortunately, he's got a very good record against us in terms of tries.
Yes.
And it could be that again on the weekend. A lot to play for Cronulla and not so much for us.
Yeah.
But
We're sitting in 6th. We'll be going for a top 4 spot. So
our boys are a different outfit, so I'd like to think they'd be playing for a bit of pride. But yeah, definitely an option, I think.
What about you, mate? Your captain choice?
I think I'm leaning towards Cookie against the Raiders. I think Raiders are a little bit liable up the guts there. They've got some of those big forwards, so probably leaning towards Cookie.
Based on that, what do you make of the Raiders' performance last week? Like, they were a lot tighter up the middle against the Roosters. Roosters didn't play that bad. I thought it was probably one of the Raiders' best performances last week.
Yeah, I didn't actually get to see the game, to be honest. So I was working at the game. But
Working at the game.
I didn't get to watch it. It was cold. It was very cold in Dower there. And
Yep.
it will be cold on Saturday as well.
Yes.
Zook's had a lot to play for in terms of being outright.
But you reckon
on
Cookie
top.
can bounce back from the 41?
I think he can, and I think, depending on the weather, I think he's a good option. If it's wet, maybe not. It's meant to rain here on Saturday as well. I don't know when, but it is meant to rain because I was thinking about going to the game.
Yep.
Otherwise, I think someone like Taumalolo for.
Yeah. He's had that week off, that little bit of a rest.
This is the last game for the Cows at Smiles for Thurston.
Yeah.
So
Bit
a
of
few
a
of those.
farewell. Big game.
No ground for Para in the guts there, so they're going to lose a bit of that grunt. But Para have been a different side the last few weeks. Otherwise you could throw it on someone from Melbourne at a risk.
They're too hard to pick at the moment, the Storm. They've lost that little bit of a core centre. Bellamy's playing around with the halves again. Jerome Hughes had that time there. Now he's got, there's a Brody Crofts back there. The doubt behind Cam Smith. Look, if I was going to throw it on someone from Melbourne and I really wanted to get some points up, I'd probably throw it on Addo Carr and just hope that he sort of scores a double or scores a hat-trick or something like that.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I would have chucked the VC on him had they been playing before South. I don't think I got the sack to put it on the straight captain there for him. So a few options though. I think potentially that Warriors Penrith game, you get something out of the halves, maybe if you pick the right one. But again, it's going to be interesting week. All the head-to-head finals. Up, so
all the head-to-heads. I've got Wayne and Hells Greenies in the BJ Game League. You've got Cam Coxall.
Yeah, and it's also very close in that total points for us and Cam, and probably not so much. I think
Wayno's he's pulled away a little bit. He's about 260 in front, so
he's doing well there.
Yeah.
So, it'll be interesting. Hopefully I can get over Cam and actually get ahead of him on the total points, or he doesn't catch you as well. So, but good luck everyone. I don't think there's too many trades left out there,
No.
and many things you want to be doing at this point, unless you got a big injury. So
Yep.
until then.
But that'll do us for this week, guys. We'll be back next week, and then we will have a wrap up after the season finishes before the finals start. So thanks to everyone who's still watching. Obviously, it's been a long season. We'll see what we can do in the off season and prepare for next year. But we'll catch you all next week.